Good evening. Welcome to Activate Worcester. And this is an important show. The reason it's important, this is the last show we're doing before March 1st. March 1st is primary day. It's primary for the Republicans, primary for the Democrats, and show up. It's going to be very, very important that you do it. The key thing is that'll draw most people is the presidential primary. And obviously, we've got two very, very hotly contested races on both sides. And just to refresh your memory, if you are registered as a Democrat, you must vote in the Democratic primary. So when you go to your polling place, you ask for a Democratic ballot. Conversely, if you're registered as a Republican, same thing holds true. You ask for a Republican ballot. If you are what they call unenrolled, you can take either one, either a Republican or a Democratic primary ballot, and that does not change your party's affiliation. If you want to change it at a later date, you can do that as well. But voting for one or the other does not change it. It's strictly a primary. And the sexy ones, of course, will be the top of the ticket. But very, very importantly, and we're talking at this point about the Republican State Committee as well, there will be people on it for both male and female. So there'll be one female that will go forward, and we actually have a person who's running for re-election named Bonnie Johnson, who's appeared many times on this show, and we recently did one with her as well. You might want to check that one out going into our archives. However, on the male side, remember the males and females aren't competing with each other. It's male versus male, female versus female, okay? Is a very, very good personal friend of mine who, he's chuckling. I know it's hard for me to say that, but it happens to be true. And it's Chris Pinto. Now, Chris is a guy that I've known for many years. We've been involved in the political scene for a long time together. And we came up with the idea, along with a good friend of ours named Sandy Williamson, who you must remember from our earlier shows. Sandy now lives in Georgia. And this is where we hatched the idea of Activate Worcester. In point of fact, we hatched it on his deck, drinking some adult beverages. And we thought this would be a fun thing to do. And it's turned out to be a labor of love. And Chris has been on camera a number of times as well. He's operated as a co-host, and in some cases, he's taken the chair and been the solo host as well. But that's not why he's here tonight. Chris is running for the state committee, and he's got some very, very strong ideas about what he would like to do. And even though this is the first time he's actually running for the seat, he's been very, very actively involved in many, many other key issues. And what I'd like to do is, first of all, welcome Mr. Pinto with a suit and tie on, for God's sakes.
How are you, sir?
Without the jacket. And we have about 20 some odd minutes to have you explain what it is and why are you running. You're a hard-working guy. You're in Boston every day, 5 o'clock trains, whatever it is. You've got a heck of a family that you're involved with. Why would you take this on? Why would you do this?
Okay, so I think the thing to understand is that, first of all, that my motives are all altruistic in nature. Mm-hmm. Many, many years ago, a friend of mine decided he wanted to run for state representative, Paul Franco, mm-hmm. and a reporter asked me, because I was working on the campaign, doing most of the work, because we were a shoestring operation back then. Mm-hmm. And a reporter asked me, what do you get out of this? And I was confused. What do you get out of this? What do you mean? Well, do you get a job? Are you looking for a job at the State House? Are you looking for a job for your kid? I said, no. All I get out of this is better government. Mm-hmm. So it's not it's not I get out of it is better government. We all do.
That's right.
And when you fight for what's right, when you fight for fiscal causes, when you fight against the one-party system to help people get elected, there are two types of people that get involved. Those who want jobs or want favors or need something for their business, and those who do it strictly to have better government. I work in the private sector. I have a good salary. None of my children work in the public sector. And I do it just so that we have better government. Now, why am I running? I'm running because we need to continue to do things like support the Second Amendment. We need to do more at the state level, the state GOP level, to support local candidates.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Let's define terms, okay? What are you actually running for?
I am running for one of 80 positions that are available in the state. The Republican State Committee has a state committee man and a state committee woman from each state Senate district. And I am running for the committee man position for the Worcester 1st District.
Which includes?
Which includes a good part of Worcester. So if Harriet Chandler is your state senator, if Harriet Chandler's on your ballot, then that's the area that can vote for me. So it's most of Worcester. I don't know if I have the exact list here. Yes, I do. If you can just hold on one second, I'll bring it up. I have a list right here. If I open it. Okay, for Worcester, we have a lookup. For Worcester, it includes wards 1, 2, 3, and 4, Ward 8, but precincts 2, 3, and 4, and then Ward 9 and 10. And it's in Northborough, it is, I have a little lookup tool here. It is precincts 1, 2, and 4 in Northborough. In Clinton, and probably we're not going to have a lot of viewers from those areas, it's precincts 3 and 4. And it is all of Boylston, all of West Boylston, and all of Holden.
Wow.
So that makes up the 1st Worcester District. And then other people from Worcester who are in wards 5, 6, and 7, and wards 8, precincts 1 and 5, have the opportunity to vote for our companions and conservative, fiscal-minded folks, Jim Knowlton and Carol Claros. So the other side of Worcester is the 2nd Worcester District, and it includes that part of Worcester as well. Okay. So we're going to urge you to vote for me, but we also want you to vote for other fiscal conservatives that are hardworking. Jim Knowlton's been working hard, helping out candidates for over 10 years. So you'll hear a lot of people say, you know, I'm going to help more local candidates get elected, and I'm going to support the party and grow the party. That's a lot of, I think that's a lot of platitudes. We have a whole bunch of people that are running that are considered establishment candidates. They're endorsed by the governor, and the lieutenant governor and a whole bunch of other politicians. But it's easy to tell if you see a name, someone's endorsed by the governor. Just go look at OCPF and look at that. Everyone that's given them an endorsement have gotten money from them. So there's an old thing like in Scottish Rite Masonry to become a 33rd degree Mason. It's a very exalted position to have. It's the highest honor you can get if you're a Mason. We have many past presidents that are 33rd degree Masons. We have some local people around here that are as well. Well, there's two ways to become a 33rd degree Mason. One of them is you donate lots of money. The other is that you work for the organization for 15, 20 years and work hard and contribute your time and sweat. I am that candidate. I am that person. I do also donate money, but I am of limited means, so I give my time, but I give it so generously, it has made a huge difference. And I hate to ring my own bell, but think about this. Does anyone remember this? Yes. Repeal automatic gas tax hikes. I was one of the first people that was called when they decided they wanted to potentially get involved in this battle. And I was asked if I would do the IT work, if I would do all the online work and the social media work. And I did. And it was a commitment for 14 months of my life.
I remember.
Where every week I had to put in work updating things, updating the website, putting news articles up there. The initial work I had to do to set up all the online infrastructure took me about 60 hours. That was all volunteer time. And we went up against $3 million against us. The the No on One committee spent $3 million. We spent under $100,000, which we raised from donors, and we also donated ourselves, not only time but money to the effort. You know, boot leather on the ground, sweat, thinking, getting creative on how to win it. And in the end, we won. We won by a very good margin. And why is this important? Well, as a state committee member, it's great that state committee members are going to help more people get elected. I'm going to help more people get elected. But in this state, the only time you're really going to make a big difference is if you're going to put skin in the game and take on the big fights. And the establishment Republicans on Beacon Hill don't want to take on the big fights. They don't want to upset people too much down on Beacon Hill. Because their colleagues, the Democrats who control everything, will take it out on them. They'll find ways to take it out on them, running people against them, whatever. And many of the state committee people have state jobs. So if they're ruffling too many feathers, their bosses in the state will tell them,
Bye-bye job.
relax,
Yeah.
don't do that. The best story I ever got is, I think you might have been with me, collecting signatures at the Stop and Shop up on Pullman Street.
Yeah.
Pullman, one over from Brooks Ave.
Oh, yeah.
Nice lady, you were there, I think. Nice lady, I asked her, will you sign this ballot petition? She said, what is that all about? I said, it's about stopping the automatic gas tax hikes. Remember what she said to me?
Go ahead.
She said, you guys look like very nice guys. It's probably a very good thing that you're doing, and I think I agree with you. But I work for the Department of Transportation, and I can't sign that. I'd lose my job. Literally, that's what's going on. We need more private sector people that will give of their time and some of their money, but give more of their time to grow this party, to get people behind important causes. Tank the automatic gas taxes was huge. Let me explain how huge. They were going to tie gasoline taxes to inflation. They would automatically go up every time inflation went up, but not come down when inflation comes down, when we have deflation. If they succeeded in that on Beacon Hill, the number of things that they were going to tie to inflation to automatically go up to bring in more revenue, as they like to call it, would have been limitless.
Not only would it have been limitless, to me, the really sadistic part of it is that none of those raises or increases or enhancements, whatever you want to call it, all comes out the same way, out of your pocket. The amazing thing is none of those would go to vote. None of those would require subsequent votes.
Zero accountability for the reps.
It's a done deal.
And then a couple of cycles later, when some people retired and new people come in, they could say, well, I wasn't here when that was passed.
And they'd be right.
And they'd be right.
Yeah.
And we would have, when you go to the pump, think, Pinto saved me at the pump. He dedicated 14 months of his life. Now, another thing that I look at is when grassroots efforts like this, huge grassroots efforts like this happen, it brings more people out to vote. And Charlie Baker won, but we got 40,000 more votes than Charlie Baker got. Charlie Baker came to a tank the gas tax celebration for Christmas. We celebrated. We had a Christmas party after we won. There was a little bit of money left that we hadn't spent on ads and things. And we had a Christmas party.
Yep.
And we all had a few drinks. The drinks weren't paid for. It was just a little bit of food. We bought our own drinks. The governor came and he thanked us. And I was the second person that he was introduced to, but we already knew each other. And, you know, I was up there where I was considered one of the top tier people. You know, Jeff Deal, myself became very good friends over time, working on that. And he thanked us because it helped him get elected. So the point I'm trying to make is, when the grassroots win, we all win. Many Democrat households won as well, because we had inflation, but we've had the gases go down. So your gas prices would have had a bump up in taxes and went down in gas price. And the other thing that's funny about it is gas is one of the things that's computed into inflation. So if gas goes up, which the taxes would make it go up from inflation, it's sort of a self-feeding cycle. Gasoline, fuel, it factors hugely into the cost of food and many other products because they have to be trucked. And you start adding taxes on because of inflation, and it just would spiral upward. You'd probably never see it coming down as far as the tax increases on gasoline.
When was the last time you saw a tax either abolished or cut back? It just, once it's in there, it's in there.
But gas is pivotal to so many things, and putting an automatically increasing tax on it. Now, we were called lots of names. We were called anti-tax, that you hated people, that you didn't like roads, and all that. When they start calling you names, and I've been called lots of names because I speak the truth, and there's people out there calling me names now because they don't want to see me in there, because when you're effective, you'll be called names. Simply, the bill came down to, we're not against taxes. We're not against roads. Just anytime you want to raise the tax, go on record and vote on it. It's that simple. In fact, we had Jeff Deal on this show. That's another thing that, you know, Chris Pinto does is gets the message out there of conservatism and fiscal conservative and the right principles. And that's very, very important. As far as, I know how many more questions you got, because I could keep rambling on.
Oh, you're doing fine.
Let me talk about some of the things I've done over time.
Please, yeah.
Worked on Franco's campaign, put in countless hours on that. Scott Brown campaign, the first time and the second time. The second time was a good time because I spent many hours spending my own gas. The Brown campaign bought lousy steaks for those big 4x8 signs.
I remember.
So Pavel Lovin and I spent our own money to put up better steaks, and we spread 4x8s all over Central Mass. And we took pictures of every single one of them. We were having this little thing where put the sign up, bang it in, hang it up, take a picture, go to the next spot. And we have a whole collection of Facebook pictures of Brown signs everywhere. A lot of people walked away from Brown the second time around. I had some things I was upset with him about, but he's our guy. He's our Republican. And we fought for him. You and I. And Sandy was still here. We had Mike Sullivan, the guy from the Cape.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
We had all three Senate Republican candidates on this show.
Gabe
Gomez.
Gabriel Gomez.
Yeah. Mike Sullivan. God, the third guy's escaping my name. He's moved to California now.
Yes.
We've had many, many local candidates on the show. We've had Jessica Vaughn from the Center for Immigration Reform, Ray Hanna from Act for America, the Boston office. We've had the smart meter people on. So we just keep doing this and putting our time. So not only have we done candidate stuff, but we've helped get the message out for many, many groups on this show.
One of the others that we've brought on several times, also a long shot in many ways, was Donna Calorio. And the focal point with Donna, in addition to her candidacy for the school committee,
Stop Common Core.
was Stop Common Core. The chances of making that happen were between slim and none.
And it's
slim
not over.
left
It's
town.
not over, Ron,
I know
because the fight is still on. They're trying to take Common Core and rename it and call it MCAS 2.0. They're trying to pull a little fast one, these education guys. We're up against Bill Gates. Now, how many people in the establishment?
Bill Gates is Microsoft.
How
if
many
you don't
people in
know
the
it.
establishment do you think are going to want to take on Bill Gates?
Yep.
I'll take them on. I'll get boots on the ground, and I'll get the message out there that Bill Gates is trying to make profit off of our children while he tries to race to the bottom with this new Common Core educational standards. They're no good. But those people in the establishment, some of them may be profiting. Some of them might have businesses that'll profit when Common Core comes in. That, you know, they'll be promised jobs. But you've got to take on the big fights. Otherwise, we're not going to save anything.
Understand this, folks, that we don't live in Alabama, we don't live in Arkansas, we don't live in Mississippi. If we did, Common Core would be an upgrade from what they currently have. Massachusetts has been in the top 5, if not number 1, with education for a long, long time. We had nothing to gain and everything to lose by supporting this thing. And politically, folks have just rolled over, and very, very courageous folks have been fighting very much against the system to make it happen. And Chris
What
is
it's all
doing
about.
the Johnny Manziel thing.
It's all
about
about Common
money.
Core. A lot of people are going to make a lot of money off of Common
Absolutely.
Core. And we're probably going to have a show on here at some point. We're still in this fight for Common Core. They've got it on the ballot,
Yep.
but it's going to be voted on in November. And they're going to spend big money trying to jam Common Core down our throats here in Massachusetts. And there's going to be big money coming from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And they've got money. They've got money. So we're going to have to fight. And the establishment will probably be with us, but they'll be reluctantly with us. We will shame them into helping us. But we shouldn't have to.
Well, the thing of it is, folks, just so you know this, that's one of the reasons we started doing Activate Worcester, to get people aware and involved and so forth. And the intensity that you can sense from Chris right now, this is not a short-term thing. And once he gets elected, hopefully on March 1st, you know, it's business as usual. This is a guy who is involved, he's intense, he's a fighter, and he's not fighting, you know, for trust me, for anything personal on his side of the ledger. He's fighting for us. And this is what you want. If not, if you like folks who want to do the status quo thing, which is really what you have in two different hills, both Beacon Hill and Capitol Hill. You have two guys that have been running the Republican Party for a long time. I like to call them the owl and the pussycat. The owl is Mitch McConnell, and the pussycat is the recently deposed John Boehner, whose biggest thrill in life is being able to play golf with the individual who's the President of the United States. If you like Republicans like that, okay, vote for them, knock yourself out. If you want Republicans that are there to make things happen, not just for the, quote, Republican Party, but for all of us. Guys, we are not hyphenated Americans, okay? We are Americans. That's what you have to look at. And which folks are going to do the most for all of us. This is one of the reasons that Chris is running. And with the kind of intensity that you see today, trust me, March 2nd, it'll still be there. Back to you, Guy.
Okay, so let me just tell you who I am, so you know who you voted on, right from my push card. It's got all the stats.
This is so
on it.
you don't forget.
I was born in Worcester, and I've lived in this district all my life. I'm a graduate of Doherty High School and Framingham State College. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science, and I've been directly involved in Republican politics for a decade. I've been a Republican all my life. First time I could vote for president, it was the GIPA, Ron Reagan. These are just some of the things I've done here, but Paul Franco's campaign for state rep, I was campaign manager, did a lot of I wasn't managing, I was doing a lot of the actual work. For state senate, I was a consultant to them. I gathered signatures for the gas tax, and I did all the online stuff. It was huge. Of course, I do this show, and I volunteered for many candidates, from city council and school committee up to U.S. senator and governor. And I was a winner, this is the part, of the Bill White Award for Outstanding Republican Service in Worcester County. A couple of years ago, I was given the Bill White Award at the Labor Day breakfast.
I was there.
And very few people are given that award. And the interesting thing about that award is it's only given out every few years. You know, there's years in which someone really, really shines and you get the award. You raise to this level where they say, wow, this guy's making a difference. He's working hard for our causes and our party.
It's
and
not
they
an
give
annual...
you the award. Then you can't get it again.
Yep.
Because if you could get it year after year, there'd be a few people that would have it multiple times. But once you get the Bill White Award, you are a Bill White recipient, and you're no longer eligible to get the award again. But you then become someone who can vote for the next recipient of the award. So I am now a voting recipient of the Bill White Award. So I can't get it again, but that doesn't mean I'm not fighting like
To get
I
it,
did
you have to
receive
be in
it
a high
the first
cotton.
place.
There's a lot of respect involved with it.
Yeah. So
And a lot of shoe leather. And that's why you got it. Simple as that. And you deserved it. Period. As usual, the clock on the wall is our greatest enemy here at Activate Worcester. Okay. You have about a minute.
I've got about a
to
minute.
Close, look at our infamous camera 3.
I don't know where that other sheet is that Frank gave me.
Talk to your people, and we're good to go.
Okay. I think that's about it. I mean, you should understand that the Republican State Committee is an elected but volunteer position. It is critical of future of our party. The position represents Republicans from the state Senate district on the Republican State Committee, is responsible for assisting in and providing organizational support for local Republican candidates and town committees. But in addition to that, we will pick fights, big, valuable fights like tank the gas tax and stop Common Core, which benefits not just the Republicans, but it benefits all of us.
Amen.
Ourselves, our children, our grandchildren. Those are the types of things that we need to fight for here in Massachusetts as Republicans. We need to fight for what's right. Ron, it's always a pleasure to be with you, sir.
Mr. Pinto, thank you for appearing.
Even more of a pleasure and honor to be your guest. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to have you. Folks, March 1st, don't sit home, get out, vote. And for this position, Committee 1, Chris Pinto, Bonnie Johnson.
Saved your money at the pump.
Do it.
So give me a vote.
Deserve it.